Good day, my name is Christelle from France de Klerk, Independent Technical Analyst. The first one on our list is Shoprite. We can see that the share has already broken downwards on the stochastic with a negative divergence without being completely overbought. It found resistance just below that 80 level. However, we're starting to see lower highs. The share bounced, found resistance at a lower level than the previous time there in the week of the 4th of November, and we've seen some profit taking ever since. That tells us that there are definitely investors that are taking profit. First confirmation of weakness will be below that strong support waiting at 283 Rand 73. If the share starts to change that level into a resistance, an ugly double top formation will be confirmed. And a double top, triple top, and head and shoulder formations are all warning patterns implying that the top of the share might be in place. Only when Shoprite starts to consolidate above 314 Rand 53 again on a line graph, can we assume that that warning will be off the table and that the momentum to the top will continue. Also take note how close that 40-week moving average is, which represents the long-term sentiment towards the share. As soon as this level changes into a resistance, and that is waiting at 279 Rand 15, the long-term sentiment will change to negative. If I add my 20-week moving average, which is represented by the green line, we can see that currently the share is fighting it. Below that level, it will also confirm some weakness, and that is waiting at 298.37. One can use those strong support and resistance levels to make decisions on profit taking or to maybe lower your exposure to this share. The next one on our list is the Rand against the British pound. At the moment, we can see that the Rand found strong support around 22 Rand 72, right? And that also represents the neckline of depending on where you want to start it, but this can be an ugly inverse cup and handle formation, right? And we can see, especially in the last couple of weeks, the Rand has found strong support at that neckline. However, below it, this inverse cup and handle formation will imply a stronger Rand. So at that level, as I said, that neckline is waiting there around 22 Rand 72. We are still consolidating below the 40-week moving average, which means we expect a stronger Rand against the British pound. Only when the Rand starts to consolidate above the highest level on the handle, and that is coming from the week of the 15th of July, waiting at 23 Rand 55. Only when the Rand starts to consolidate above that level will we assume that this formation becomes obsolete and is off the table. If I add my 20-week moving average, represented by the green line, we can see that the death cross formation is in place, implying again that the bearish trend, right? That the stronger Rand is expected going forward, and that trend is still confirmed against the British pound. If we want to maybe start the formation here, we can also call this a double top formation, right? But the neckline level will remain the same, and that also just highlights that strong importance of that neckline. Below it, stronger Rand. And the big test is, what will the Rand do when it gets to that 40-week moving average level again? Because look what it's done in the week of the 15th of July. It tested it, remained, and there was enough selling pressure, and it kept it a resistance, right? In that week again, well, from actually the week of the 19th of August right until the 2nd of September, it tried to get to that 40-week moving average. It just couldn't, which also confirms a stronger Rand against the British pound. So maybe some support here, a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of Rand weakness. Excuse me. If I look at the stochastic, there's still a lot of room for upside, but 23.29 is where my 40-week moving average is waiting. Will there be enough power to change that level into a support? We will have to wait and see. Should that 40-week moving average remain a resistance, the stance will remain a stronger rand against the British pound. If 23.29 changes into a support, the sentiment or the view will change to a weaker rand against the British pound for the long term. In other words, a 3-month plus view. Wheat listed in the US. If we look at the cash, I'm going to use the cash contract, the spot price, right? Because that has got the most data at the moment. We can see that red line, the 40-week moving average, is a resistance and has been a resistance since June of this year. And we can see that just supports the pressure on the price. It's trading at $531. My next support is waiting there at $503. But very important, ladies and gentlemen, we are starting to see lower highs time and time again. Every time the wheat price bounces, what happens? It retraces even further and bounce, and then the bounce is not as high as the previous bounce and retrace further. That tells us loss of momentum. And if I use this, I'm going to use a horizontal line. If I use this strong support here, I'm going to move it a little bit up because it needs, the cup and the handle needs to touch my neckline. And if it doesn't on a line graph, I can always use a candle formation, right? To make sure that it touches the support that I'm trying to identify. Great. And it does. It does. Yes, great. It does. All right. So let me draw that for you. I've got a cup and a handle, inverse cup and handle formation. If that strong support waiting at $514 starts to change into a resistance, this inverse cup and handle is implying that we can see more downside. And the full target of this formation is the full length of the cup projected downwards from the neckline where the formation was confirmed, which means we can see the wheat price at $322 should the shelling pressure continues. Only when the wheat price starts to consolidate above the high in the week of the 30th of September, and that is waiting at $596. Only above that level will the warning of this inverse cup and handle be off the table and incomplete, obsolete. Very important, the fact that my 40-week, that is a strong level, right? And that is waiting at $561, represented by that red line. Should that level change into a support again, we can feel a little bit more positive about the wheat price and can maybe expect a little bit of a bounce for upside. But at the moment, the selling pressure is fierce, and we can see that the momentum to the bottom on the wheat price is clearly in place. Sunlam, ticker on our exchange SLM. Also a share that's treated investors very, very well this year. I would like to go back to a line graph because we want to highlight here again lower highs. If I look at it, I'm going to just use a horizontal line again. If we look at that 87 Rand 31 level, it was tested in that week of the 4th of November, bounced a little bit back to 89.66 in the week of the 18th of November, but there was not enough buying power to take us back to 91 Rand and 7 cents, which is coming from the closing price in the week of the 14th of October. That implies lower highs and lots of momentum. So what does that tell us? If a share is this overbought, in other words, that elastic band is stretched to a side, and there is a negative divergence, that K percentage line, the blue line, the shorter moving average within the two lines, have started to break downwards, it implies that the momentum to the bottom can continue and escalate even further. Combine that with my price action, I can see that that is the case. And if I add my 20-week moving average, my next strong support is waiting at that green line at 85 Rand 90. When that golden cross formation, when that 20-week moving average broke through that red line in the week of the 13th of March, that was beautiful confirmation that the bullish trend on Sanlam was confirmed. And I mean, the share pulled back, tested that 40-week, kept it a resistance for a couple of weeks, with the low stochastic, beautiful time to buy, and ever since then have just made higher lows and just bounced to higher levels. A little bit of profit taking here, pullback, but that gave investors just another time to accumulate the share, and sure they did. because we could just see a massive lamp pole formation to the top. But for those who might have Sunlam at the moment, these lower highs and that strong support that has now changed into a resistance is implying that it might be some time for profit taking. Only when that high waiting at 91 Rand 7 cents changes into a support again can I assume that the momentum to the top will continue. But with an elastic band this stretch, it tells us that we might see a little bit of a retracement and a pullback first. Impala, there was a request as well for more platinum shares. If we look at Impala, we can see that neckline that is waiting at that cup and handle formation. I'm going to draw that for you. Beautiful cup and handle. A cup and handle, right? Not an inverse. So that is a positive formation. Once that neckline starts to change into a support. And that neckline, let me just clear the drawing. That neckline is waiting there, and I'm going to give you that exact level, 110 Rand and 3 cents. Should that level change into a support again, the optimism around the cup and handle will be confirmed. Very important. Have a look here, ladies and gentlemen. In the week of the 18th of November, Impala, I'm going to zoom this out, pulled back, right? Bounced a little bit, but did not have enough buyers to go and test that neckline. In fact, it found retracement, it found resistance before that, and that is seen as negative, right? That is not great. And if we're very creative, we can see there's a small left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, and that neckline is waiting there at 106.90. Below it, we can maybe see Impala lower first. Our stochastic is also confirming that the momentum to the bottom is in place, but on a longer term trend level, this golden cross formation on the 3rd of June, when that 20-week moving average broke upwards through the red line, the 40-week moving average, tells me that the bullish trend towards Impala is still in place. The next strong resistance that needs to be overcome is waiting at 122.13, and that support that needs to hold is my 20-week moving average waiting at 98 Rand 17, represented by the green line. Don't forget to send through your requests via Twitter or email us at admin@fransdeklerk.com. Have a fantastic week. Take care.